Hi there. Quick video on texturing for lip sync in a 3D program. So what you'd like to do is you'd like to morph between different textures. I have a couple of problems with that. One, Studio Max 2011 downwards, I've just been checking on the other versions, does not support the mental ray morpher material. So if you're trying to do a Pokio type thing, in which case you have different textures and all you want to do is switch between one to the other, so you want to morph them over from one to another, then if you're using mental ray you can't do that. Doesn't work, not going to happen. Not supported, will render black. That's what it says in the help file. So forget mental ray. I would imagine other renderers like V-Ray and whatever will work perfectly because they're not made by Autodesk, so they actually get their act together as usual. That's end of moaning, groaning portion of video. Back to upsetting part of the video. Right, so if you're in the default scanline renderer, which currently are we in the we are in scanline renderer. Okay, so just to check, there we go. Yeah, so currently if I go and assign this, which is a morpher material, I've got two things to it. I'm going to say I'm going to assign this to that, and I'm going to just refresh it, and what I need to do on here is add a morpher. Okay, and then I'm just going to go and refresh and choose morph object, that guy, morpher, bind it, so it should be cool and cooking and great, and then reload morph targets. Alright, so here we go. This guy is not empty, this is blank. Okay, so in here, over to here, I want to call this blank, so that's good. And then in here, come on, hello, this guy here, he's called happy. H-A-P-P-Y, happy. Right, so now we've got my morpher now reflects my textures in here. So if I'm going into this, I can see that works, yeah. So if I dial that up, that's 100%. This is only at this level. If I go back to my morpher level, I can't see it anymore. So if I dial that down to 0, you'll see my preview is going to be showing me nothing's going to be rendered. Just to check that, let's go over to here and hit render. Indeed, we get a green square. Right, so things we need to do, let's make sort of, there we go. So if you dial up blank, we'll see that, yeah, that's going to be that blank expression. It's currently showing blank expression in here because the last time I dived down was down to that texture. If I hit render, we now get that working. So if I then put up happy instead, happy changes on here. If I dial that down to 0, nothing's changes down here because I'm still basically, last time I looked on here, I was in here. So blah blah blah, I can now show happy. Okay, so I can see it, but I can't see it animating. I mean, it doesn't make any sense at all. So yeah, so that now will render happy. I can dial halfway between as well. So blah blah blah. So you can see we're going to get a smudgy line to it. Hit render. We get a smudgy line because they're half and halving. So yes, the renderer will render. It does work with morph targets. Can't see them in the viewport. Doesn't work. Will not animate in the viewport. Cannot see the textures animating from one to another in the viewport. Won't work. So another way of doing it would be, instead of using the morpher, so let's get rid of that guy for a minute. Switch the morpher off, not used. So if I hit render now, just get a green cube, which we do. If I swap this out to being a composite material instead, and I apply that, so my base colour for my composite material is this blue. Just to check, let's change it to red. Change it over to red. Okay, and we can definitely see that in the viewport. Again, when I go up to my composite material up here, when I'm dialing in different colours, then we can't see anything. So if I hit render now, It's actually showing its blank face, but we're not seeing it here. It doesn't even show you it in, actually it does here, doesn't it? It does show you in your shader view again. So you can use a shader view as a way of seeing what we're doing. And with this we could use mental ray, because it's not a morph material, it's just a composite, and we can change the, basically get rid of this, get down to 0 and put that up to 100%. Okay, and that becomes that guy, and hit render on that one. We get the smiley face. Can't see it in the viewport again though, but it will work with mental ray. But it's not the prettiest ways of working, is it? I wouldn't think. Yeah, so you're going to have to do it via seeing what you've got here, which is not brilliant, is it? So yes, yes, you can animate textures. No, it doesn't work in the viewport. 2, also doesn't work with mental ray at all. If you're using morpher, your composite will work, but either composite or morpher you don't see in the viewport, which is not great, is it? Workflow wise, that's terrible. There might be another way of doing it. I'll have to have a look. You can animate colours within a scene, but you can't animate selections of materials. You could probably go and say, well, I can just swap from this material to that material to this material to that material to go from different mouth shapes, which is okay, but Max doesn't recognise this as an animatable property. I can animate the properties inside a material, but I can't animate materials. So I can't swap from one material to another and see it in the viewport. So I just go and say, well, that's my view. That's what I'm looking at in here, which is blank, for instance, and I can see that. Or I can say I want to go and see this guy here, so I can say it's this guy instead. Yeah, Mr. Happy. Or I can go to here and say, no, it's this guy, it's the ooh guy. This is what I want to see in the viewport. I want to see all these different mouth shapes. So I can swap them out this way, but I can't animate this. It doesn't work. You can't animate materials being assigned. Because that, basically, what you're doing with that is the composite thing, isn't it? That's what that's doing. It's saying, I want this one, then that one, then this one. And you can bounce them off each other. Same with morpher. That's what that's doing. But both of those you can't see in the viewport. So there you go. So yeah, a bit of a problem really. Not as easy as we thought, was it? The only way of doing this is to pre-animate all the lip sync in another program, for instance. Just draw it as a texture that animates to sound, and then apply that animated texture. That would be able to be seen in the viewport, but you won't be able to edit it other than offset it. You can offset the start time of it and see if it's going to loop or not, but you can't actually do your animation of lip sync in Max. You're then in another program doing that, which may or may not be the way you want to work. Probably not the way you want to work, but it's a way of doing it. Yeah, interesting. So I think it's breakfast time for me. That's enough problem, I won't say problem solving, problem highlighting. Yeah, there you go. Right, with that, cup of tea and all the rest of it. Catch you later.